course.
I don't even have to say it anymore. Zoom does it for me. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Beers with Will. It's my pleasure to welcome back Nick Baird, Beer Lab. Nick, welcome back to the show. It's great to see you.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah.
So is everyone enjoying their summer so far, being able to get out to see some breweries maybe and enjoy some, in-person visits, perhaps, if they're comfortable getting out to a brewery or two? Yeah. Lots of happy faces, lots of shaking heads. That's good. So we are on, if you haven't noticed, an extreme IPA kick for the last 9 months. We're working really hard to try and redevelop our IPA game and really IPA, double IPA game, and really focusing on body, mouthfeel, color, head retention. We're looking at all the different avenues of what makes up a good IPA for us, and playing this small tweak game every single time we brew now. So even though you see a lot of double IPAs and IPAs coming out from Beer Lab in London, it's everyone is still different. We're still changing a little something on every single batch, which we're learning every time. So what are you guys drinking right now here? Just going.
Night Bloom.
Night Bloom. I just need to pull up my notes because I was just doing hop purchasing all day today. So my brain is fried on all the different hops. So Night Bloom, Amarillo and Idaho 7. Yeah, this is the combination that we're really loving. This is the Crosby Farms, Amarillo and Crosby Farms, Idaho 7. So the dank but juicy Idaho 7 with this beautiful peachy Amarillo. Now, I don't remember if the last time I was on, if we were talking about Amarillo and how we had stopped using it altogether for almost 3 years because the crops were not what we were hoping for. And this Crosby Farms crop that we've been getting is just, it's so outrageously fruity and delicious with that light, pithy bitterness. It is, it's a real joy to work with. So.
Derek took the words right out of my mouth. Where is Crosby Farms?
They're Oregon-based. Oregon-based family-run operation. There's about a 4-person sales team, and I think they said it was like 12 or 15 working the farms. They're wonderful people to work with. It's good quality. They deal with smaller batches. Right now, I think there's about 6 of us in Ontario. And I bet you can guess the 6 of us who are using this stuff. It's, like the Town Brewing, it's Third Moon, it's, Barn Cat. It's everybody who's really chasing these ridiculously over the top juicy hops. And these guys are really starting to make a name for themselves. And I think it's going to be more and more difficult to get. That's one of the people I was dealing with today was like contract buying, getting stuff set up for next year's crop of Mosaic. Just having a conversation with them about what we can do about getting our hands, because we couldn't get their Mosaic this year at all. It was like pre-sold, so we wanted to make sure we were ahead of the curve this year. So.
Yep. Terry and I are curious if you've ever actually visited the farm.
Not yet. I have not been. Adil and I were invited up. Every year, Flying Monkeys gets to go down. If you remember last time, we're really close with Flying Monkeys. Every year, Flying Monkeys goes down for hop selection in Yakima, and we were invited down for 2020 after the 2019 hop harvest. And then when 2020 hit, Yakima sent all hop rubs directly to the brewery. So we were still invited up to Flying Monkeys to come to join the hop rub. Not quite the same as going to Yakima and seeing the harvest and getting down there with the bales. But we're trying to work something out for this year. Monkeys has invited us down again to meet up with them to go down. So we're working on that really, really hard, but Adil and I will be in the East Coast, we'll be in Nova Scotia right when they're heading down. So we're trying to make it work. We catch them on the tail end. We have some some collabs planned out in the East Coast and some visits and some fun stuff on the horizon with some Nova Scotia breweries. So
when are you going?
To answer the question, no, haven't been yet.
When are you going to head out to Nova Scotia?
End of September. We're heading out that way. We're going to do Montreal for a couple of days. My wife Jess and I were going to do Montreal for a couple of days. Adil and Milos from Milos Craft Beer Emporium, they're flying out to meet me in Halifax. And then we're going to spend 4 days in Halifax, working and visiting and catching up and all the stuff you're supposed to do. As long as everything stays as is, we're really hoping, fingers crossed, that everything goes positively for that. So,
aren't we all feeling that way right now?
Every day.
I have so many of the people that I coach that are like just waiting for that fourth wave.
It's, like, do you live your life in fear? Or do you just keep living it like day to day and just enjoy the best you can? Drinking beer, talking to people when you can, getting out, enjoying a meal at a restaurant, shopping even. Jeez, I was told I have to get more shirts. I have nothing but beer shirts left in my closet and in my drawers. So I am a little hard pressed for anything other than that. Luckily, it fits for my wardrobe for work. So,
what's your favorite beer shirt? The one you have on, or is there another one?
Right now, this Third Moon shirt is pretty much top of the pile. They're coming up with some really killer stuff. I had a Holy Mountain shirt, but I lost it somewhere. These things happen. You go places and you lose your shirts. Holy Mountain shirts are gorgeous. I'm really into their art and their designs. I think we're actually, Beer Lab's coming in with a whole new lineup of shirts. We're working with a local artist. Her company's called Soft Flirt in London. And she does a lot of like flash tattoo style work for people. And she also does a lot of like rock style t-shirts, band name, image kind of thing. So we're working with her on some new designs and gonna have some new stuff out early fall is the plan. So,
that'll be great. You'll have to let us know so we can keep people
posted.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We'll get some shirts out to people. It's always fun.
Yep.
Because Terry's got the OG shirt on over there. So
yep.
It's time to upgrade.
So with both of you gone in September, are you gonna shut down or are you gonna brew ahead?
No, we'll brew ahead. So we plan all this stuff on in between brew cycles. So we'll basically hammer out a bunch of beer. He'll still be there to finish up a few things. Adil will be, and then he'll fly out for 3 days, which is 3 or 4 days, and then fly right back. So we won't be missing two. It'll be like post dry hop. So we'll have to let it sit for 4 days anyhow. So we're not going to be missing a whole heck of a lot, and our staff will be there. So, and we have our good friend Pratt is he was at Equals Brewing Company. He brewed a lot of the contract beers, the 2 contract beers we did at Equals, One Fell Swoop and Pedals. He helped. He was instrumental in brewing those beers and monitoring them there. He's now the head brewer and has taken over the reins at Powerhouse in London. So good things on the horizon for that brewing company with his skill set coming in. So we'll lean on him to come over and check on stuff as well. So,
well, of course, the craft beer industry. Everybody is so good with each other.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. So it's
you'll have to give me an intro so I can get him on the show.
Oh, he'd love to. He's a great guy. He is Niagara College grad. He came here from India to go to school. And after working a couple years in India at some larger scale brewing companies, the man is just passionate. He is just pure passion about beer. He is just a wonderful human to talk to. So,
yeah, that'll be great.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a curiosity question, and it's sort of my curiosity. So you guys homebrewed for quite a while.
Yeah.
And made that decision to do the leap into opening up a microbrew.
Yep.
I'm curious what the sensation was like when you actually walked into the space the first time, knew that it was yours and that's where you were going.
So when we left Forks River and leased the property, so there was 2 sensations. The first one, when we got the keys for the space and we're like, this is going to be great. 12 months, we'll be up and running. It'll be wonderful. And then, 36 months later, we're still not up and running, and it's not all wonderful. So when we got the keys, it was a great feeling. We're taking the right steps moving forward. When we opened the brewery the first day, it was pretty powerful. Adil couldn't be there. He was doing his residency in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. And so I was on, video chat with him the whole day, and, his partner Heather was there helping. So that was nice that she was there to help out and do all that, help with the opening. So very emotional, very, long road to, get those doors open and make it functional. But this is not a unique story. I mean, I'm certain we've all heard these stories from everyone in the industry who's opened up a brewery in the last 5 years. 16 months and we're going to be open, and then all of a sudden 24 months and still miles away from opening. We're all optimists, I guess, in this business.
You can say that for anybody who's an entrepreneur. I mean, you have to be optimistic to want to do something.
Agreed.
Is there anything you would have done differently?
Oh, absolutely. I'm like 100 things off the top of my head. Obviously everyone says bigger system. The system's never big enough. Once you garner any amount of success or any amount of positive press towards your beer, it's tough to keep up with the demand. And we're already super small scale, but would have we gone with a bigger space? Would we have looked at pushing harder on the landlord to maybe get more space in the building? All of these things. Would we have gone with a system that allowed for more decoction brewing, more unit tanks, larger, there's a million things on the production side. And then on the sales side is another thing, Would I build a bigger infrastructure to get stuff rolling off the bat, gone with canning right away as opposed to just draft and crowlers? A lot of stuff like that. So yeah, absolutely. I think that's the beautiful part about this industry is that you're always growing. You're always changing. There's always something else to work towards and move in a positive direction towards, hopefully. So
yeah, you can't stand still. There's no such thing as static in this industry.
No, absolutely.
So after this wonderful dank finish, which beer are we going to try next?
Ooh. Do you guys want to go palate cleanser? Do you want to go to seltzer? The seltzer's in this mix today, right?
Yep. Yeah, we got the lime.
Okay, so I mean, wherever people want to throw the seltzer, do you want to do another like a double IPA right now and knock that out?
You know what? I'm inclined to do the seltzer as a palate cleanser.
Seltzer it is.
Oh.
I'm gonna grab another glass over here.
Oh, that's got a really nice lime aroma. Wow.
Thank you. Yeah, we're trying to. Dylan and I both love seltzers. This is not something we're bashful about. We really love seltzers. We love drinking them. We love making them. We think it's an awesome beverage as an alternative to beer. So we started doing some research into it, and we were messing around as per usual with a bunch of different yeasts. Until we settled on this particular yeast, which is a wine yeast that we've settled on, and wine yeast that's geared towards making seltzers from Propagate Labs in the US. Yeah, we use Apex Fruit Solutions out of the US for all of the flavor, for the lime, the lemon, the mango that's coming out next in a couple of weeks. Really easy, great company to work with. They match flavors, they mix whatever you want, however you want it as well. Yeah, I don't know. We just really like seltzers. They're refreshing, they're fun, they're easy, and the market's it's seeing the potential for it now. I mean, look at, Left Field. Anderson just released a bunch in the city as well too. I mean, I'm just thinking of fermented seltzers versus alcohol-based seltzers as well. Every week there seems to be a new seltzer coming out. So ours are fermented. malt extract, primarily dextrose, fermented bone dry, and then the fruit additive adds just a touch of sweetness, but we want to keep it dry. Do you guys find, like, have you tried many seltzers? Have you tried fermented seltzers versus like alcohol based, like neutral vodka or grain alcohol based seltzers? Like there is a difference in taste to me, but
I definitely prefer the malt based. I really like the ones Third Moon's done. They're easy going, like they pack a ton of flavor in, and
okay.
This one's pretty tasty too. But yeah, I find the malt based much more enjoyable than the vodka or gin based myself.
Now, is it like, do you enjoy it because of like just the mid palate's a bit more weighted, or it's not just sort of like fruit juice and alcohol? You know, like
I
that's
think it's
what I
just a
find.
more balanced overall product through and through. It's just a nice, clean finish, clean. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's not just fruit juice and then alcohol. It doesn't have that that gin or vodka punch at the end.
Which is fine if that's, you know, there's sometimes I like Willowbald stuff. I was drinking their one they did, the collab they did with Barvolo, super tasty. It was like grapey and crushable, and it reminded me of drinking grape juice as a kid, but with a kick. You know, it was really good. You know, not that I don't like those other ones, but I'm with you. I prefer the malt based ones, the fermented ones that just. If you've ever had White Claw in the States versus White Claw in Canada, the two, like the big brand, in the States, it's primarily fermented. And up here, it's made in London at Barfly or Blackfly, excuse me. And it's just co-packed with alcohol up here. So they're very different. I definitely prefer the US version over the Canadian version.
I was trying to explain to a buddy over the weekend what the difference is with the malt-based or fermented ones, and I just totally forgot. Couldn't really remember how to explain it. So
yeah,
do you mind just going into that again?
Yeah, for sure.
Just what the difference is.
Yeah. So when you're buying, like so for instance, White Claw in Canada, what they do is they tanker in truckloads of alcohol into Blackfly. The purchaser, the alcohol purchaser, one of the two alcohol purchasers is she lives around the block from Beer Lab, so she's in having beers all the time. So we talk shop quite a bit. So she's like, I bought 10 tankers of neutral grain alcohol today, or neutral whatever alcohol, to add to whatever spirit they're making. So basically all they're doing is just taking tanks as blending tanks, adding, the fruit content, the water content, excuse me, and then the alcohol content to get to spec, and then carbonate into package. Whereas with fermented seltzers, it's just like making beer. You have to boil the product. You have to boil it for sanitizing, and then cool it into the fermenter. Add the yeast, and there's a shit ton of nutrients you have to add to this stuff. The yeast does not enjoy. There's not enough nutrients in the sugar for it to ferment out fully in a timely fashion. So you add a bunch of nutrient to make it work, and get it to get through the sugar that's in there in about 7 to 10 days. That's about our average ferment time on this. So whereas you could have a tanker truck in there with the fruit, mixing, blending it, you'd have it carbonated, you're ready to go within, 12 hours, 14 hours. We're looking at, 7 to 10 days just to get primary done. Then we have a carbon filtration that we have to go through to help clarify. Then we biofine the product as well to help clarify it. I mean, ours is clear. It's not crystal clear, but it's fairly clear. We're working on it to make it better. In the short cans that we find, or the cans, it doesn't, it gets a little hazy because the sediment, and when you pour it, it shakes it up a little bit. On draft, it pours crystal clear because those kegs just sit there and they don't move. So, but yeah, so there's filtering and then carboning. So it's still it's almost a 2.5 week process, grain to glass. So there's a lot more time consideration on doing it this way. So there's the pros and the cons. If you want to turn it over quick, alcohol and juice and water, there you go, no problem. But
If you hadn't filtered it, then would it still be a brown or a yellow?
It would have a yellowy tinge to it. So the yeast nutrient we use is it's a white yeast nutrient powder, so it doesn't add that much. When a lot of folks, when they first start making seltzers, use their traditional yeast nutrient, which is it looks like golden yeast, so that gets added in, changes the color of it, and then you get this sort of hazy yellow kind of product, which isn't super appealing to me. I want it to be more clear on the crystal clear side. So we found a nutrient that is geared towards making clear seltzers. So, and I've been happy with it. So.
Well, I'll give your show back in a second. Sorry. The last thing I was wondering is, what is your start point then? You're not starting from malt then, or what?
Yeah, it's malt and dextrose. Okay. In this, so there is a component of malt. That's why we don't put gluten-free on the packaging at all. We don't want to ever give that image that we're making a gluten-free product, because there is malt in this, and we're in a malt-based facility, so there's potential for cross contamination. So we get that question a lot with this. We say it's okay if you're just gluten sensitive, but if you're celiac, we don't recommend it, sort of thing. So
thanks.
Yeah, no worries.
Thanks, Derek. Well, Nick, I have to say, I'm not a seltzer fan, and I really like this.
Oh, thanks, Bill. Yeah. It's we're working hard at changing it, and we just released it's not the first, but it's the first collaborative slushy seltzer with Third Moon the other week. So Third Moon was really killing it with their slushy sours, and there's a brewery in the States, in Michigan, that created a company called Smooge that is all the rage in Michigan right now, and I'm certain you've all seen it or maybe tried it, with their pina colada slushy seltzer and their strawberry banana. So Third Moon and Bebo, Chris, Dylan, and I got together, and we got talking about this, and we came up with Broken Hearts Club, and it's the necklace that friends would wear, the hearts that would break apart, were sort of the logo. And when you bring the beers back, or the seltzers back together, they become one again. And so we're sort of trying to start this idea of blending the two, and they each taste cool on their own, but when you blend the two together, it creates a whole third beer, a whole third product that's a totally different flavor profile. So
do I freeze? Good. Do I freeze my slushy seltzer? Because I've got one in my fridge.
Okay. Yes. Not freeze it. 20 minutes.
Yeah. Get it
20
really
minutes
cold.
And cold. And this is raw fruit. Excuse me. This is a raw fruit beverage. So keep in mind there's potential for re-fermentation. And we've always been recommending open it over the sink, have your glass at the ready. We still, I got a phone call today from a guy who had it out on his back deck, and it was his third beer of the night, and it was sitting on the deck waiting. And when he went to open it, he got a little bit of a volcano. And I get it. It's new. It's a new idea, a new product. So I mean, we're happy to replace stuff like that and talk to people about it. It's I feel bad. He was like, I was looking forward to it, and I said, looking forward to you trying it, man. We'll give you some more. Come on down when you're free. We'll get you some more. But yeah, open it over a sink just to be on the safe side.
I'll keep that in mind when I go to try it. Don't want to have to explain to Jackie why there's slushy all over the ceiling, the floor, the cupboard.
Yeah, shotgun it. Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna fly. Yeah, they're pretty thick. I don't know if you want to shotgun a breakfast smoothie. But yeah, it's a fun idea. We just finalized the new version that's going to be coming out in a couple weeks with Third Moon as well. So totally different fruit profile this time around, so it'll be even more fun. So yeah, something different and fun. Those guys are awesome to work with. We're really enjoying our time with those guys and spending time, and just getting to know them better as humans and as brewers. So it's a lot of fun.
Good. So what's the most interesting thing you've learned in the last 6 months?
Oh, Uh, in the last 6 months of this brewery is expansion is harder than what we thought it was going to be. We thought it was just going to be, let's just buy new equipment and make it happen. It's proving to be quite daunting. Finding the right equipment for the right people, the right support. We just thought, buy 3 more tanks, buy a new brew system, easy peasy. Here's the money, get it done and over with. But then we started asking more questions about it and dealing with different companies. And obviously we've seen the change going with shipping with everything and deliveries and shipping containers. So shipping containers went Third Moon, just ordered a new tank. And it was shipped over a month and a half ago. When they placed the order for it in April, the quote was $6,000 to bring the tank over from the manufacturer in China. When the tank was a week away from shipping, it went from $6,000 to $16,000. And we were just talking with a company who was down looking at our space, sizing up equipment. They just said containers are going to be $20,000 by the end of July. So it's basically learning that we now can't get the discount of buying well-made Chinese products. It's now, okay, the shipping, the time, everything, it's just as good to buy onshore. And so we're dealing with a bunch of American companies and 2 Canadian companies trying to figure out what's going to work best for us, as opposed to going direct to China, which is where everyone was doing before, with the cost factor and the availability. So big learning curve in the last 6 months. Again, so it's been a fun 6 months.
Imagine it has. How do you stay grounded with everything that's going on?
I have an awesome business partner. Adil is one of my best friends. He is a great man, great human. He can yell and scream at me. I can yell and scream at him. At the end of the day, we're still friends. We can vent our frustrations. So it's that, and I have a great wife with Jess, and a huge friend group that's provides a lot of support, and just little things. A couple 4 weeks ago now, I guess we were at Third Moon doing a job. I guess it was maybe 6 weeks ago, and then ran into Terry and Emma, and then we met up with them later in Kitchener Waterloo for beer out at Short Fingers, and the little things like that. Getting to see people that you enjoy their company, and getting that's how you keep grounded. You just keep talking to people about fun things and finding out what else everyone's doing.
Has COVID changed your message at all?
Like change our message of how we make beer.
I don't know how you teach people about your beer, about who you are. Has COVID changed that at all?
Not really. We've been basically the same couple of people that started this brewery in my garage 10 years ago. It's really it's changed how we talk to people about why we're brewing what we brew. Because our initial goal with this place was not to just brew IPAs and maybe the odd porter and the odd sour beer. It was to brew every style and try different things. But with COVID, people drinking at home, people, no matter what, IPAs are still going to be king. So you gear towards what people are buying. And we were finding that beers that we wanted to brew, porters, saisons, triple decocted lagers, they were languishing on the shelf. They were going off. They weren't at their peak. But IPAs would always sell through. So I guess that's the one thing we sort of okay, well, we've changed to brew a lot more IPAs than what we initially planned for. It's not great when you look at the books and you look at what you're spending on hops and new products and trying to stay on top of the IPA game because it's constantly evolving. We just got a brand new product in from Bart Haas Group. As far as we were told, we're going to be the first to use it. It is a new flowable hop product that'll be the first of its kind to use to be used as a dry hop. Most flowable hop products are going to the boil for sanitizing purposes and mostly for bittering purposes. But this new product from Bart Haas Group is meant to be used as a flowable dry hop product to replace a portion of your pellets to help you gain more liquid in the final product. So we'll be this weekend adding that into the tanks for the first time in Ontario, as far as we're aware. So that's exciting, but it's also new products, innovative products are not cheap products, and you got to be on top of it, and having fun like that. So yeah, I guess that sort of changed our method, but it's message. But that's good. It's good to change your message and have people understand that you're not just going to brew, IPA, blonde ale, porter, and lager, and that's fine if you do that too. Totally cool. But that's not what Beer Lab was ever going to be about. So,
yeah. Is there any style of beer that you haven't tried yet?
Tried to brew?
Yeah.
Oh, a ton. Oh my gosh, so many. Like we haven't brewed any grisettes. We love drinking grisettes, but we haven't brewed any. What else is sort of in our? We haven't brewed any sort of like traditional like Rauch beers, which were I was firmly against any sort of smoked beer. Not my cup of tea, but I don't know if any of you guys tried Sonnet Hills, Callum's latest smoked lager. Just opened my mind up again to the potential for what smoked beers can do. And Bim is always adding at Godspeed. There's that little bit of smoke that in all his beers. That's just that like, oh, is it there? What's going on? And it's bringing me into the fold and making me want to explore that a bit more and see what we can do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just at the drop of those two have been standing out to me because I'm ready to take the plunge on those two styles. So.
Okay. So we're going to do distance or we're going to do rabbit hole next?
Well, let's do rabbit hole.
Yep.
Now these two are very similar. Yeah, I'd love to see one too. We did the Bellwoods event. Milos and Beer Lab did a joint July 1st Bellwoods tap feature takeover in London. We had 18 drafts and 45 different Bellwoods beers available, and they had the Gamay Grisette and the regular Grisette. I still have bottles of it left, and I don't understand why, because it is destructively good. It is those brewers at Bellwoods are just killing it. They're making some of the best beer in this country by far, and then across the world in my mind. But so rabbit hole. We have been looking at new hops and looking at what we could do. So we went old school on this one. This was Cascade, Citra, and Amarillo. We haven't ever used Cascade in the brewery. So this is the first beer we've had Cascade in. Coming from two guys who both worked at Flying Monkeys, where Cascade was king. It was sort of a fun return for us to smell that hop again and enjoy it and get that sort of stuff going on. So, this one conditioned a little bit longer too. It had a little more tank time. It was a brew in between cycles, so it sort of had an extra week and a half in tank before we got to package on it. So maybe it's a bit softer, a little bit easier going, but yeah, it was a fun return to Cascade. I think it'll be more in a regular rotation for us in some form, because it is such a great hop that it's underutilized for us. So.
Yeah, I got that right away in the taste that you've got Cascade in it.
Yeah, Cascade in the Whirlpool and Cascade in the dry hop on this beer. So it was Amarillo, Citra, one bag of each, 11 pounds of each, and then 5.5 pounds of Cascade in the dry hop on this. So it was a little bit extra dry hop. So we were looking at about 21 grams per liter on this beer as well for the dry hop. So bigger than what we usually do. But oh,
What would I find on your playlist right now?
on my playlist right now.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been listening to a ton of stuff because all of my bands started rehearsing again. So I've been listening to all these songs that we've made because I've forgotten all of them. So I'm having to relearn all these songs again for the 3 bands that I play in. So I've been a little bit lax in my playing it at home and performing and rehearsing. So the last week and a half, 2 weeks has been just me listening to music that I've made because I needed to relearn and not be the guy who was the worst at the band practice.
So you've been listening to your own music. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm listening to my own music and just trying to revisit those songs because it's been each band has been well over a year since we've rehearsed, and you kind of get caught up with a million other things, and living life and listening to other music and getting into something different, and yeah. So that's sort of where I've been at, listening to the bands that I've been in, these songs I should know by heart, but don't.
It's been over a year. What can we say?
Yeah, I mean, muscle memory kicks in for anyone who's a musician. I know muscle memory is a real thing. Now after this, it's like, okay, yeah, it's right there. So.
Yes, I know. You have to play something until you almost hate it.
Yes.
But then you can never make a mistake because your body knows how to play it.
Exactly.
Does brewing get like that for you?
Yeah, it absolutely does. Yeah, brewing IPAs is you talk to most people, if they're not tweaking or changing something with like a length of time, it becomes, I know that in 30 minutes I got to do this, and then it just becomes not repetitious, but you get into that groove. That muscle memory kicks in on when you should be switching things, and then you start to smell things differently as well. When the boil is at a certain point, by the aromatics in the room and stuff like that. So, is the mash converting where you want it to? Is that temperature too low because you're not getting that dextrinous smell off the malt in the mash tun and stuff like that? So yeah, it becomes similar. I mean, both in the positive ways, not in the repetition, but in the positive ways of muscle memory.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, you get to the point where you know if something's not right.
Oh yeah,
because you can smell it or you can feel it by the way things are going.
Yeah, I mean, you guys you may have all seen our lineups over the last 6 months. It's been IPAs every single time. So I mean, we've gotten into this groove of how IPAs should be coming out and how they should be feeling and how they should be tasting at every point. Because I think I mentioned last time that we taste at multiple points throughout the process in the brewing side and then in the fermentation and cold conditioning side. So there's at least 7 to 8 taste points, touch points that we deal with. So we get to know where things should be going, what's going on. So we spend a lot of time talking about it. So
does that spill over into selecting a hop package for something?
Oh, absolutely. Mix? Yeah. We spend a lot of time talking about hops because there's only 15 hops that we're really, really into. But there are hundreds of hops out there. And then all of a sudden you have to get on top of the new hop, the new field code hop is it going to blow your mind? Is it going to change what's going on with brewing in this province? Maybe. Do you want to be at the forefront or do you want to be bringing up the rear on that too? So
always want to be at the forefront, don't you?
We want to be. I mean, we're trying to be on it. We talk with our hop reps weekly because there's always something new on the horizon. So shipments show up early, shipments show up late, mostly late nowadays. But when it comes to shipping from like Australia or from Oregon or from Germany, but if things can come in early, let's get it in. Let's get it in as fresh as possible.
So
Now
who
I
do
know
you,
you guys have a new brewery opening up shortly in Cambridge area, right? In the old Grand River
yes,
building.
yes. I
Wait.
think they finally opened their doors.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah. I tried to get a hold of them just as they were in the process so I could get them
Gotcha.
on the show, but they were way too busy trying to get the thing running because they were about 5 weeks, 6 weeks behind where they wanted to be.
Yeah.
You know that feeling.
5-6 weeks. Whew, that's on time.
Oh, I wanted to say that to him, but he didn't know me. So it was like, nah, better not do that.
Yeah. Don't push the buttons on a guy who's under the gun right now. Hey, I get you.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah, I'm
So-
excited. They reached out the other day and they asked us to come down for a visit and check it out because Adil and I and Milos, we used to live at Grand River. We used to go and just drink there with Rob and everybody. And
Yeah.
it's such a great spot, unique space. So yeah, interested to see what they've done.
It will be interesting to see what they've done.
Yeah.
Who do you think's doing the most interesting work in hops right now for development? Which region?
Oh, like growing region?
Yeah, the growing region.
So New Zealand by miles. New Zealand. Ravaka is we just secured I think 66 or 88 pounds of Ravaka, which is it's like gold in the brewing world right now, trying to find that stuff. So with the lockdown, like, New Zealand was completely locked down. No one was in or no one was out of New Zealand, right? With the pandemic, basically, unless you had to have some sort of impact on their immediate agricultural growth. So Sean Hill from Hill Farmstead was one of the very few people in the world who got to go into New Zealand during the pandemic. And because it was crucial for the growers, because he buys so much hops from New Zealand, it was crucial for him to understand the hop where they were to help rate them when to harvest, that he was able to go in. Like what they're doing in New Zealand is just, some of the stuff is just, the Sunpack hop is coming out that we're going to be getting some shortly. Super excited about this. And Ravaka, they're just these juicy tropical bombs of hops that we just can't wait to get our hands on and work with. And they work well on their own. They work well with, Citra and Amarillo and all these other complementary hops, but it's just such a neat space right now.
Certainly is. So, is Sunpack a sister to Summer from Australia?
I'm sorry?
Is the Sunpack hop a sister to the Summer from Australia?
No, different altogether.
Different altogether? Okay.
Yeah. Sunpack is going to be way more on that orange marmalade juicy side, where Summer is a little more herbaceous and still fruity, but not quite as like citrus driven in my mind. So
okay. I'm sure we've talked about this before. Who's your role model?
In brewing or in life?
Well, let's take life.
Well, I've got two people that I've always considered sort of like mentors, I guess, or role models, I guess. One is Peter Chiodo from Flying Monkeys. He has been a friend, a boss, a moral support for over a decade now. And I love working with him. He is a great human. He'll help anyone with any problem. He's a straight shooter. He gets you the answer whether you like it or not. And I've always respected that about Peter. He's a family man who runs a family business with great success, and he's a wonderful human. The other guy is a guy when I was very young and I started out my career in sort of alcohol. I was in the wine industry, and my mentor then, and still to this day, I still talk to him on occasion, is a man named Del Rollo, and he was my GM at Jackson Triggs Winery when I was there, and he now runs Jackson Triggs and Enniskillen and a whole bunch of stuff for that company in Niagara. Great guy, hospitality driven, taught me a lot about hospitality focus, conversation with people, getting to know people, and understanding how this business can be trying, but it can also be super rewarding in many ways. So he is a great guy to talk to, and a great ambassador for the wine industry in Ontario and in Niagara specifically. So yeah, those are the people I look up to.
Okay. Talk to me a little bit about distance.
The distance was when we were so happy with what we saw with Rabbit Hole. We just said, let's pull Amarillo out. Let's see what Citra and Cascade do on their own. So we pulled out the Amarillo, a little less fruity, with the Cascade being more predominant. I find you get more of that citrus dank hit. But similar beer. This was also a slight increase in the oats on the grist on this beer as well. So a little bit, we're trying to get a little bit of a creamier, fuller mouthfeel on it as well. Yeah, just, we have a pretty strong formula that we use, and we just tweak it a little bit for each beer. We kind of see, okay, do we do more base malt in this? Do we do more, crystal malt in this? Where are we going with this round? This one was, I want to say this was a slightly lower carb on this beer as well, too, because we're always playing with carbonation as well. Where's the sweet spot? Is it 2.2 volumes of carb? Is it 2.4? Where's the sweet spot for this beer? So that's sort of what the game we're trying to play a little bit there. So yeah, I think that's about it for that beer.
Definitely get the creaminess.
Yeah.
Definitely. That was the first thing that hit me, is like, this has got a lot more creaminess to the mouthfeel.
Yep.
And it's got that, that citrus dankiness at the back.
And that's what, Citra and Cascade was meant to do. I mean, that's basically what Smash Bomb was. If you think back to Smash Bomb.
Oh yeah.
Citra and Cascade was, once you hit the version that made it onto the LCBO shelves the first time, it was about a 50-50 or a 60-40 blend in that beer of Citra Cascade. And then Peter realized, holy shit, Citra is really expensive. We need to figure out a new hop to go with here if we're making this much volume. So yeah, then things obviously get, changed, and you figure it out. You buy more Citra, all of a sudden your contracts make it more affordable to put it in a beer like that. So that's, I don't know about you guys, but that's one thing I kind of miss, is that beautiful West Coast style from like 2009, 2010, 2011. I kind of miss that sort of dank bitterness, clear IPA. I know GLB just released a 7-barrel series called 2010. That was awesome. Yeah.
But you were there for that, were you not, at Flying Monkey when they did Smash Bomb?
I wasn't working there at the time. No, I was. I came on to Flying Monkeys in 2013, but I was on the tasting panel. So Peter and I were pals, and he asked me to come to Milosh's, which it was again to his old bar that he used to run in the market in London. And there was Adil, myself, a guy named Mike Hurley, Jared Zafman, who was a city councillor in London and a great beer guy, and a couple other people. And Peter came down, and it was Alpha King versus Smash Bomb, and that's what he wanted to make. He wanted to make an Alpha King clone, and he failed miserably. And I tell him this to this day. He just stopped trying to take Three Floyds to test here. Like, it just don't do it. They'll beat you every time. But yeah, no, it was a good first kick at the cat, and it was a lot of fun. And yeah, we went through every iteration, and he'd always ship us down a 6-pack of whatever the new iteration was, just to try it to Milosh's, and Milosh, Adil, and I would go over it, and then we'd call up Peter and say, this is terrible, or this is great, so.
But he set the standard back then.
100%.
He set that standard. Wow. remember when we got that the first time at kickoff, it was like, yep, this is it.
Yep.
So,
and then he did it again with Juicy Ass. I don't
Yeah.
understand. Like 6 years, 7 years later, he just does it all over again.
you have to love people like that in the industry.
Well, it's like you said, constant growth, right? If you're not growing, you can't be stagnant. You have to change. You have to evolve. You know, look at all the brands, especially from Flying Monkeys. I'm most familiar with those brands. I mean, Optical Illusion is still being made, but when was the last time you saw one or drank one?
Yeah.
Amber's gone. Anti-Gravity is gone, or is going.
Yeah.
Smash Bomb's gone. All those core OG brands are gone. All new ones coming in. It's great.
Yeah.
It's fun to see.
Yeah. So I think I'm just going to ask one last question.
Sure.
Before we're done. If you could brew with anybody for a day, who would it be?
Oh, Sean Hill. Like, Adil and I love, I mean, obviously other than brewing with Adil, because Adil is one of the most intelligent humans I've ever met in my life. And his passion for beer, if you haven't met him, is it's hard to explain. Yeah, exactly. Right, Terry?
I need to make a trip up to see the two of you because I have not met him. I have not met him.
Please do anytime. And we'll talk about Sean Hill. He'll talk about Sean Hill especially. He's met Sean Hill on multiple occasions, and Adil always kind of said, he kind of gave me the brush off. And I'm like, it's because you guys are the same person. You're both so passionate about the project and about what's going on that you maybe don't have time to talk about it to anybody else. You can't come to the brewery and Adil's very open. I love to talk to you at the brewery, no problem. But Sean, from everything I've read about Sean, is that he's so focused at the brewery. It's like he walks around with a pH meter and is always just like pHing everything everywhere he goes. What's the pH on this? Where's this going to end up? What's happening here? And that's what is that what his passion is? Absolutely. I'd love to brew with him. That would be a lot of fun. I mean, there's a ton of other people that I'd love to brew with and just hang out with and drink beer with and talk. But learning from Sean Hill would be something. That'd be something fun.
I'm going to say, what's it like to meet somebody that you're so passionate about in the industry?
Oh, it's awesome. It's so much fun to meet these people because they're just like everybody else. There's no, I mean, I put him up. It's like this rock star pedestal. He's this quiet guy who's just really chill and just, lives on his family farm of 250 years or whatever it is. He's just a relaxed guy. Can't wait to meet him. Adil has always said, he's just a very relaxed guy. And Adil can be very intense and he can bring that out in people. And I love that about Adil because he gets you going. He gets you on board with what he's passionate about. And that's awesome. That's awesome.
That certainly is. That is a fantastic trait. When you can talk so passionately about what you love that people want to join you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, Adil has that magic. He's got that magic too.
Yeah. Thank you for taking time out of your hectic schedule to talk to us again.
Thanks for having me, guys. This is great. I really appreciate it.
Jen, thank you for all the work you did getting the beer for everybody.
Thank you.
Next week, Eric Solis is in from Indigenous Brew Crew. Derek, I believe the beers are arriving on Saturday, are they not? And
sometime this weekend, I'll figure it out and keep you guys posted. I'll be out of town until Monday, so I'll have to get it to everyone Monday or Tuesday. But someone will be here to receive it, so don't worry about that.
The 10th of August is the go. We'll be doing the collab release at the Wellington Brewery. The space will be open at 7:00. Please let me know if you're going to come because we've got, I'm not going to say we've got limited seating, but Eric would like to have some of his friends, and Eric is going to actually play music for us at least before and after we do the release of the beer. And I'm slowly putting together all the shows for the 4 weeks that I'm away in Nova Scotia. So Two Crows, He's we're going to be doing a show direct from the brewery there.
Oh, awesome.
Yep. And the first Tuesday I'm away. Of course, you guys remember that Merit Brewing is joining me. I'm not sure if Keith is going to be hosting it or David might be hosting it because I might only be able to join by phone, but we'll get that all figured out. Again, Nick, thank you. Totally appreciate it. Oh, one other thing. Sorry, I do have to ask. Please let me know if you guys are interested in Beers with Bill doing the barrel series that we were discussing last with Graham Spence from Block 3, because him and I are working out the details on that now. So
Yeah, that would be really cool.